Hey everybody, this is Strategywizard again, and today I'm going to be doing a review of Crossfire, which I don't have the box, I don't have the instructions anymore for this, partially because the instructions weren't that big of a deal, and you can't really put this back in the box when it's assembled, so all I can do is just show you the, the game itself. But yeah, Crossfire is something that has been around for a long time, and I think what I bought was just some recent reprint of it. This is the first copy I've ever had, and I happened to be walking around in Toys R Us before they so depressingly closed. I really have fond memories of Toys R Us, but they were expensive, I guess, and they just weren't competitive. But so be it. Either way, we got into our local Toys R Us maybe a couple of years before it closed, and picked this up. Maybe it wasn't that long ago, maybe it was a year ago, I don't remember. Anyway, point is, picked this up just because it looked cool, thought my son would really enjoy it, so I didn't do any research on it. I just saw it and I thought, wow, that looks awesome. So, and my wife had heard about it. She remembered seeing the commercials from a long time ago, which I eventually went and saw the commercials, which, you know, showed this dynamic, you know, shooting the marbles and everything across at each other, bam, 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 and knocking the pieces in. So everything just seemed like it was really exciting. So I thought, you know what, how could this possibly go wrong? So let's go ahead and go to the table. I will show you how it works, and then I'll let you know if I was right or wrong. Okay, so here's the setup. You have your little metal balls, or whatever you want to call them, in your guns, and you've got these two little pucks, as they call them, in the arena. Now you can modify the arena this way if you want, which kind of gives you more defense, so to speak, or you can push them back in. I prefer to play them this way, and you'll probably see why here in a second. So let's just say that I'm going to go ahead and start shooting and try to knock one of these pucks over there into the other side. So you have a little trigger here, pull the trigger, and you start launching marbles. Every now and then, it does what it just did right now, and it jams up, you shake the gun a little bit, and you're back in business. So you'll notice there's a slight, you know, they don't move a lot. The pucks are kind of slow to move, gun jams. You keep shooting, trying to get it in here, and eventually, I will get a point. At this point, I have no more marbles. Let's say the opponent had been doing this. Now they're going to, they might be shooting over here going, oh, no, 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 you're not going to get in my goal. And then they want to knock this one over here. Now you'll notice there's a trend here. As you hit these things, they start pushing over to the edge. And I'm sure you can imagine that at this point, the person here, I will say, the scoop here is kind of nice for grabbing these little balls, because you can easily just kind of grab in here and dump these inside your gun. That's nice. But you'll see that at this point, this person cannot miss, and they will just pummel this puck back where it came from, and the balls will get stuck right here, which means that they're not going anywhere, so all they can do is just swipe them back into their spot, and these aren't going over to the other person, so they're not going to be getting ammunition as this person tries to protect himself from losing this puck. That is a bit of a problem, because it makes it to where, at this point, it's just very slow going. I really want to get that piece in, so I'm going to come back over here. I'm going to say, you know what? I'll just shoot it a little bit more, and I'll get it in. So I'll refill here, and let's start shooting. Oh, and we have a jam. And I'm doing a horrible job here. Let's see, here we go. Okay, so as you can see, I made almost no progress, and all these things just get clogged up here. The only way to fix this, from my experience, now don't get me wrong, eventually, given the right kind of shots and depending on what the other person's doing, I have been able to get it all the way in and fall into their spot, which would get me a point, which obviously is the point here. You're trying to get points, and you play to however many points you want. But that issue is why I definitely would never play this way, because then it really gets tough. Whenever they're shooting, they're not even shooting it very much in the direction of the... this is causing so much resistance, and by the time it gets here, my shooter is at point blank range, which makes it very hard for the opponent to actually get this in here, because look at this. I mean, it can barely fit. So I don't like that at all. I don't see why anyone would want to play that way. But even if you have it this way, it's still hard for these these balls to knock these in whenever I have such an easy time of preventing it from happening. It's one of those cases where you have all this dynamism here, but the resistance is futile, I will put it that way. Resistance is futile. I mean, actually it's the other way around. The resistance is actually too powerful because the pieces get so close to me I can't miss. My opponent is going to be missing sometimes, and all their balls are going to get caught up right here. I just shove them in here and I get more to shoot and fall right back in here and keep re-ammunizing. So it is hard to get points in this game. It takes a long, I've had times where it takes a very long time to actually score points, because we'll have a piece over here and a piece over here, and we're just both, you know, I'll take a few shots over here trying to push this closer, but then he's shooting over here, so then I start shooting this and pushing it back, and no one ever really gets anywhere. So that's really how this game ultimately ends up being. So my solution to that is whenever they start getting close to the edge, we push them straight closer to the center so that we can actually hit them and actually move them closer to the goal more easily. That is it's a fix somewhat. That's not perfect, because sometimes, you know, they might get to the edge over here and you push them over here and you'll find that you'll still push them over to the edge. But it's a way to at least make it a little better, but it takes away from the excitement and the thrill of shooting the steel balls. So, you know, I don't know. It's just, but that's what happens. That's how you play. Let's go ahead and go up top and I will tell you what I think. As you can see, I was wrong. It's not nearly as awesome as it seems, because as you can tell, ultimately it's hard to keep the pieces from getting to the point where you're just in this almost stalemate, and it's pretty frustrating, to be honest, because you start off with this excitement where you're launching the marbles, hitting the pieces, but they don't move nearly as much as you might hope. And maybe that's a good thing, because it would end too quickly if they just rolled whenever you hit them, but they move so slowly that it makes it to where it's very hard to ever actually get a point. And because somehow the physics of it make it to where it almost always ends up going into those corners, you end up having this battle where one person can't miss it because it's right in front of their shooter, so they're just pushing it back, and you're slightly pushing it, and then all your marbles go into their little trough, and then they put them back in and keep that thing from moving. Don't get me wrong, you can eventually get points in here, even if both people are trying. Someone can actually get a point, but it's not easy to do. And I'm not saying it should be easy for someone to get a point in a game like this. It's kind of like air hockey. You don't want it to be easy for someone to get a point, but at least in air hockey, it's about pure skill to keep somebody from getting the puck in your goal. Here, it's just like this war of attrition that's just... To make it more interesting, I do like to put the pieces in the center. Whenever they get too far to the edge, just move them, you know, on that same plane, closer to the middle. That way you're not pushing up against the edge all the time. But no matter what you do, it's just not a perfect system, as you can tell. I mean, component quality is decent. The guns jam too often, in my opinion, which is frustrating. But overall, the arena's nice and everything. So, I mean, and the marbles are nice, or the metal balls, I should call them. They're nice, but, you know, it's nothing superb. But for the price, I guess you can't expect much, because it's pretty reasonably priced, at least whenever I got mine. But there's not really any strategy here apart from just being good at aiming. I mean, it's almost like a dexterity game, but not. It's just. I'm just going to go on and say it. I mean, it's not one of my favorites, but I'll probably give it something like I give it a 5. I get a 5 because it's not horrible, and if someone really wanted to play, I would play it, but it's not something that I care is in my collection. I don't go, wow, I'm glad I got Crossfire here so I can play it with somebody. I mean, I feel like if I try to teach this to someone or show them how to play, it's going to be a little bit of a disappointment. And that's a bummer for me, because table presence looks awesome. In theory, it is awesome, but practically speaking, it just doesn't meet it for me. So too bad. 5 out of 10 for me, and you know, it is what it is. Let me know what you think in the comments, or if you have any questions, and I'll get back to them as soon as I can. And if you enjoyed this, give me a thumbs up. I'd appreciate that. And if you want to see more, subscribe so you can see more of my videos. And let me know if if you have any other thoughts or comments. But I appreciate you watching very much, and hopefully this didn't bust anyone's bubble if they were excited about this, but it is what it is. Just telling the truth, but I appreciate y'all, and I will look forward to seeing y'all on the next one. Take care, everybody. Bye.